Thank you for this opportunity, the Director of Ceremony. These are difficult times. Sometimes we think we are strong, so I brought my deputies here. My brother, my commissioner, managed to go through it. I hope I'll do the same. First Lady, the children, the mourners, the honorable ministers, Bishop Katenda, I should confess that since my appointment as Inspector General, I never had a public statement of this nature. I've been engaging with people, but a different platform. And more particularly, probably I've been commanding. And many people, they know me through the TV. I recall there was a time when I went to Karasbek, and there was an old woman who came out and said, "A can't die man." Then we start now trying to find out where she know me. She said, the lockdown men of commerce, the COVID men. So that's basically how people have known me. I will not talk today as Inspector General at that level, but I will speak as a former Chief of Security to the Prime Minister and Unity Commander of Prime Minister Unit. I'm very lucky because Johan Jarangulu, who was my office at the time, highlighted the background where we come from, how we met. It was exactly on the 27th of October, 2000, when the interview was conducted. And obviously, we have the team here, the Marit, the Simata, and the Audrey who came in later to join us, and many, many others. So it's very true, there is a lot that you have learned from the late president. He also taught us the administration we are running today. Some of us, during the time of liberation struggle, did not have enough time to go and learn administration. But he taught us. By then, we were very lucky. We have people like the Comrade Kapofi, Comrade Joseph Shikongo, and many others that actually were able to mentor us, able to, at least to prepare us. And I should indicate that at that time, because here I'm really to give a tribute and also to share the experience that I had with the late president when he was a prime minister. The funny thing and the most difficult time around that time was for me to come in. And we seated down, and he indicated that the inspector was there. Njarangulu indicated he has resigned. So and he needed a cadre to take over that responsibility. And through the interview, obviously both of us were appointed. Myself as the appointment was done immediately. Now, there were a lot of questions because I found the Konya, I found the Johan, I found the Shikongo, I found the Angola, I found ASEP and many others. Now the question was, how will I go through this? These are the guys that came from VIP. And myself, I came in as a soldier. And I was not even here in the Namibian Police. I just came in, transferred from the Ministry of Defense as a soldier. Now you are a soldier, you are brought here, and around that time, end of 1999, we just completed with our phase the Operation Antarctic in the DRC. Now I came from uniform, I came a police officer, and then I find myself here. How will I navigate that? And making matters worse, on the 2nd of November, the same year, I was tasked to lead a team, as an advanced team, from Windhoek to Frankfurt, in fact to Berlin. And we had to carry weapons. I had a problem. How are we going to carry weapons going in other countries. So the colleague that had been within the system, they had to take me through, and I provided that leadership until we arrived in Germany. The Prime Minister then came with the comrade like Pendukeni Itana and many others. So that trip went as far went to Austria. Those are all engagement that he had. From Austria, we had to travel to Boston, and from Boston, we went to New York. And during New York time when we were departing after the mission, so the Prime Minister had to depart to go via Paris, Casablanca. Then I and Bretta we had to travel back to Namibia with South African Airways to Johannesburg. Just on the airport, we were arrested by the Security Service in the USA. The first question we were asked, how did you come into the United States with the firearms and you don't have a letter from the State Department? So we have to explain. We took some hours in the airport, and that was one of the difficult times. We have to explain, we have to go through that, but eventually we were allowed to go. So exposure, as Joanna said, we were exposed. So I never in my life traveled on my own, but from that very moment, today you can send me to Beijing, I'll go and come back. Because of that exposure, because of that grooming, because of that preparation, so we were prepared. There are a number of incidents that happened. I'm not talking about locally. When we are here locally, we go to Swakopmund, there was a house, the Prime Ministerial house, called Hage. So when he really want to get out of Windhoek, he will tell you in about 30 minutes, get ready, we are going to the coast, or we are going to the farm, we're going to Tsumeb. And as it has been indicated here, Hage loved his family, Hage loved his people, Hage loved his family. There was a nun in Ochuarongo. We never pass by without passing at the mother. And Hage was a man, the late president was a man who gives. He's a man who have humility. He's a man who was very humble to everybody. So the other incident that happened around that time as we were learning, and I think that's also something that has also actually enhanced our security capability. It was a time when we traveled to Cuba. It was just the beginning of September 2001. And we did almost about 10 days in Cuba. We were hosted by President Fidel. We were taken to the Revolution Square. We had been hosted. We were taken to Santiago de Cuba. We went to Playa Girón. We went to province of Matanza. We went everywhere. And then we ended up in Varadelo. That's actually where you felt you are away from the military life. That's the time I started in forgetting about the Congo War. Because really that was now the exposure which was exposed to us as younger people. When the 11th September happened, it was just a day that the Prime Minister, I think it was just a day that they left. And then it was now for me and probably Kanaki, who is now the Consular General, we were supposed to travel. Then while in the Hotel President in Havana, we saw the breaking news on the TV, America under attack. That was the 11 September. So we had to be delayed for quite some times, and they were told, all the flights were canceled. So they had to reschedule a plane. We traveled on the 13th. Arriving in Madrid, we were arrested. Where are you coming from? So we had to explain. I spent some time in the airport. They said it's the issue of the visa, immigration visa. Then I challenged the authority that, no, we passed through here. Our delegation, we passed through here, Madrid to Havana. So those are some of the challenges that we had. The last incident that I experienced during around that time, we traveled when the late president was doing his PhD. He was studying through the University of Leeds. We went to, most of the time we are with Angola and many others. So we went to Leeds. When we arrived at the airport in Leeds, we flew from here, Namibia, to Frankfurt. From Frankfurt, we connected KLM to Amsterdam. Then from there, we took we took KLM to some way to Dublin. And then arriving there, when we arrive at the airport, we find a lot of police officers, guns all over. Then I was impressed. I said, what an organization. Only to realize that we were under arrest. All of us, including Comrade Hage, the Prime Minister. So when we landed, first of all, what happened is that there was a group of police officers. They came in and said, where are these people? Then in effect, they went to him. But then he said, no, my chief of security is there. I was called in. We were told to bring our weapons. They were properly sealed. And then we went out. The weapons were all over, pointed on us. But then I became suspicious. What type of security is this? So we were told we were taken in the airport. We were taken up to a boardroom somewhere there. They start now interrogating us. They start interrogating us. And the Comrade Hage got angry. Said, I'm the Prime Minister of Namibia. What are you trying to do? So eventually, he picked up a phone. He called Tony Blair. I'm sure at that time, Tony Blair was the Prime Minister. It was only after the conversation with Tony Blair that we were allowed to go. And then even after that, we were given a pink paper indicating that we were carrying illegal items. So we went to go to the hotel without our firearms. So these are some of the delegates, some of the complications that you find in security sector when you are providing security to a person like the late president. But then, obviously, with his intervention, we were able to navigate and go through some of these challenges. Personally, knowing the late president when he was the Prime Minister as a civil security, we knew him very well. You know when to talk to him, when you knew what to ask him at what time. More particularly, if he comes to the office, we always meet him. If you see him coming with the hands in the pocket, and in the lift start moving the leg, whatever we had, just keep it for that particular day. You wait for another time to engage him. So, but the one thing that also I learned during that time is that he can shout at you at the appropriate time, there quietly. And sometimes when you are shouted at you, even you think twice, will we talk tomorrow? But then probably late in the evening he will call you or you decide I used to decide, let me go to him at Casa Rosaria. When you go there, you'll find him watching soccer. But when you enter, it's like nothing happened in the office. You thought I'm just going to consult for 5 minutes. You will end up spending the whole evening just sitting, watching soccer and have a conversation. He will bring topics that are educating you. He will bring the history of the liberation struggle, how they started in 1962 in Botswana and elsewhere, going to the state, coming back to Angola, how he headed the Union, that's the United Nations Institute for Namibia in Lusaka. We learned a lot from the late president. I'm not talking about the appointment that came recently. I'm talking around that time as Inspector Shikongo at the time. So that's actually how we came to know the late president when he was a prime minister. As I said, a very humble person. We were responsible for his security. But one of the issues that we always looked at, he would tell you, can you just wait? I'm talking to my people. These are the people who put in the office. I've been elected. I know you guys are keeping me, but I've been elected. So indeed, you have to mitigate now between the people that elected him and you to do your security services. Now he was always asking us a question, why you guys are so concerned? Then we had to explain the security, technicality, shaking hands with unknown people. We were now trying to explain the danger that can come out of shaking hands with somebody. We were trying to expose you so to some of the issues, but then he said, yeah, but what can I do? You know, I've been elected by people, and you guys, you are responsible for me. So basically, that is the comrade that we are, that's a giant that we are mourning today as a nation. And I think I'm very happy as we are paying tribute that we are united as a nation. We are united as a nation. As Inspector General, I've been monitoring the activities of other political parties. Some of them actually have suspended their activities. It's a clear demonstration that we are all mourning. And therefore, as I'm concluding, I should indicate that that is where we come from, and that bond of relationship that we built up during that time as inspector has grown and ended with me as the Lieutenant General of the police, or Inspector General of Police. I think it is just from that background where we come from. And obviously, with the recommendation of the appropriate structure that recommended our appointment, but that the bond that we established with the late president actually is something that we will always cherish in our memory, and he left a legacy for all of us. So that is the tribute from Lieutenant General Shikongo, inspector by then. And I just want to say, let us keep on uniting. Let us navigate through this process. Let the life of a legend, Comrade Hage Geingob, rest in eternal peace. And I thank you.